Maker, this is Claire from Makery, and today I am going to be teaching you how to crochet the Flower Trellis Stitch. This crochet stitch pattern is a combination of bobble stitches, chains, and the diamond stitch that uses front post triple crochet two together. This may look like a super scary and intimidating stitch, but don't worry. In this video, I am going to be teaching you how to do all the techniques, from how to do the bobble leaves, the flowers, as well as doing the trellis stitch pattern as you go. And soon you'll be able to add this to any summer or spring crochet project and make a beautiful pattern that creates the look of a flower trellis. Before we get started on this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any of my videos here on my channel, and hit that like button so that I know that you're excited about this fun crochet stitch, and we'll go ahead and get started. To follow along with this stitch video, you'll need a couple different colors of worsted weight yarn. I am using a gray as my background color and then a pink as well as a green. I took these two yarns from a Lion brand Mandala Ombre scheme just because I really like the shades of these and I didn't need too much yarn, but you can use any worsted weight yarn to follow along with the stitch pattern, and you can also use this stitch pattern with any weight of yarn that you'd like to. You'll just want to make sure that your hook size matches as well. And if you are following along with this video and using a worsted weight yarn, you will need a size J 6mm crochet hook in order to meet the gauge and crochet this stitch to be the 6" by 6" square. When you start making the flower trellis stitch, you start by doing a base layer of 3 rows of single crochet. This is 21 stitches across, and we will be doing a variation of the crochet diamond stitch or crochet lattice stitch added with some flowers for this pattern. So I've done 3 rows of single crochet here, and now we are going to begin on our first row of the lattice stitch. So how you will begin is we're going to start by doing a front post triple crochet. Then we are going to count 1, 2 stitches, go down here to this 3rd row down there. On the very first row, we are going to crochet around the post of that stitch and do our triple crochet just like that. So that is going to count as 1 front post triple crochet. So when you do these stitches, what you're going to want to keep in mind is that the stitch that you would normally single crochet into, you are going to skip that stitch. So this first stitch that you'd usually do your first single crochet in, we are going to skip that because it has now been replaced with this front post triple crochet. So then what we're going to do is, after skipping that, we are going to crochet 1, 2, 3 stitches over. Then we're going to do a front post triple crochet 2 together. So we're going to do the yarn over twice. We are going to come down to this stitch down here that we were just in, and we are going to crochet around that post again. This is going to give us that second half of the diamond. Then we're going to do our triple crochet, but you will not finish this off right away like you normally would. You're going to leave these 2 loops here on the hook. We're going to yarn over again, then we're going to count 1, 2, 3 stitches over on this first row, and then in that 4th stitch we are going to crochet around the post of that stitch. So we will go like this, and then do our front post triple crochet, and then we will finish off that stitch like normal. So now we have this little V that we've created. Then you're going to skip that next stitch right here and start crocheting in this one, and we will do 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then we're going to repeat that same process that we just did. Now this is made in, basically you're going to need 4 stitches in order to do this 1/2 of your lattice stitch right here. So if you can do as many or as little repeats of this in order to get all of your diamonds, you don't have to start each row where you are doing one of these front post triple crochets to start, you can have it be distributed evenly so that you can always have them joined together like normal. So then we'll do our next one here, repeating that same process, and we won't complete this stitch yet. We will count 1, 2, 3 over to the 4th stitch over here, crochet around that post of the stitch, and then finish that stitch off. Skip the next stitch, go 1, 2, 3 stitches again, and then repeat it across. Now when you get to the very last one here, which I'll show you that once we get over there, we are going to end it with just a normal front post triple crochet, not the front post triple crochet 2 together. So this will help us to get that kind of even look with this one if we were doing it like in the round or crocheted flat where the stitches ended up joining evenly. So go ahead and get all the way over here to this stitch, and then I'll show you how we finish off this row. So once you get all the way to this last stitch right here, your last stitch is going to just be a front post triple crochet like we did at the beginning, except that it's doing the other side of the triangle that we started with. So basically this is just replacing the stitch that we did, like finishing off this stitch right over here. So one thing that I like to do just when I do this type of stitch, at the very end of the row, I like to stick my hook in here before I finish off the stitch, and then I like to just go yarn over and pull the yarn through all of those loops. That way it secures that last front post triple crochet to the work, and then it won't have any weird puckering at the beginning of it. Now that we have finished this first row here with these trellis stitches, we are going to turn our work and begin working on the flowers. So you'll want to grab your flower colors here. I've got some leftover green and pink yarn from another project that I'm going to use to demonstrate this, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So you are only going to chain 1 and turn, then you are going to crochet in that front post triple crochet that you did as the last stitch. So you're going to do 1 stitch there and then another stitch here. Now the way that these flowers are placed on this stitch pattern is the flowers start as 1 on this point and 1 on this point. So you are going to want to have a total of 5 stitches around this part of the stitch that you work with. Your flower is going to go in this middle stitch, and then you'll need 2 stitches over here to account for each of the leaves that you're adding on the sides. So when we begin this stitch, we've got our 2 stitches to start so that we can have these 5 right here, and then before we finish off this second stitch, we are going to grab our green yarn here, and we are going to finish this stitch off by switching to the next color that we're going to use. Since we are working on the wrong side, which all the flowers are worked on the wrong side of this stitch, because we're using bobbles and some other things to make it, you are going to want to make sure that your yarn tails are in the back of your piece as you're working with it. So to do the different leaves, we are going to basically do a bobble stitch. So you yarn over like you're doing a double crochet, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over again, pull through 2 of the loops, yarn over again, and pull up 4, then yarn over 1 more time, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 of those loops that we have on our hook. You're going to do the same thing for this next stitch. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, and then pull through all 5 loops. But we are going to switch colors on this last one here to our pink yarn to do our flower. So we are going to pull the yarn through all 5 of those loops, pull that yarn tight, and now we are going to begin with our flower. Once we've gotten that yarn joined with this new color, what we're going to do is we are going to do 1 single crochet in the spot where we are going to be forming our flower. This kind of gives an anchor to this flower stitch so that you have something to work off of. So to begin making the flower, you are going to go ahead and chain 5. In this second chain from the hook, we are going to yarn over, insert our hook through there, and yeah, the chains are small, but we'll be able to make it through. Then we've got, go through those first 2 loops like we did with the leaf, and then when we get 4 loops on our hook, then we're going to yarn over and pull that yarn through. We're going to repeat the same thing on the rest of these chains here, and this kind of gives it the look of little bobbles that are forming the flower. So it gives it that fun little puff that looks kind of like a hydrangea or other puffy little flower. So then we've got this last one here, and there we go. So then your piece will look like this. It'll kind of have this ruffly look, this puff stitch look, and so we're going to turn our work around here. Then we are going to take the end here, we are going to slip stitch through that to the loop that we just made. Then we are going to want to make sure that we kind of turn our piece here so that it can lay flat. And what I like to do to anchor my stitch down is I will come here to the top of this V on the lattice stitch, and I go ahead and take my yarn and I do a slip stitch through that. That just kind of gives it the stitch the ability to be anchored so the flower doesn't kind of flop around everywhere. Then I come back up here to my pink stitch, that single crochet that I did before, and then I go ahead and I switch to my new, I switch back to the green. Oops, wrong color. I switch back to the green here, and then I slip stitch through that, and then that anchors my pink stitch there. And make sure you pull that yarn tight and bring it to the back of your work so that it will stay secure. Then we are going to start in that next then we are going to start in that next stitch with a leaf, just like this, till we have the 5. Go to the next one, like this, and then on this last, on the last one here, oops, and then when you have the 5 stitches, you're going to take your background color yarn, you're going to carry it over these stitches here. This is a little bit of Fair Isle crochet right here. And then we are going to yarn over and pull it through all of those loops and tighten that green so that we can finish that up. And so then your finished flower with the leaves will look like this. And you'll have this on the first one of these little lattices. So then what you're going to do on the rest of this row is we are going to go ahead and repeat this on the other side. We're going to take our yarn and we are going to carry it over to that other side. You're just going to do normal single crochet stitches till you get to the other part where you're going to be doing the other flower, and then you just repeat that same process that you just did once you get to this point over here. So make sure you stop 2 stitches before the top of your front post triple crochet 2 together so that you can do your flower there, and then do the last 2 stitches on the end there with single crochets in your background color before we go ahead and start the next row. Once you get to the end of your row with these first flowers on here, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work so that we can crochet across this, and do the next 2 rows of single crochet. So you'll start by inserting your hook in this first stitch here, and then we are going to single crochet in each of the stitches across. So you'll crochet in the top of the leaf here, and in the next one as well. And then when it comes to the flower right here, if you are feeling like your flower isn't super secure and like it's kind of flopping around everywhere, one thing I suggest is finding 2 loops towards the back of the flower and putting your hook through those before you insert it into the stitch right here where we did our first single crochet, and then you single crochet through that. That will help secure the flower there, and then you won't have to worry about it flopping around. So you'll go ahead and just continue single crocheting across this row and the next one, and then we will do the next part of the lattice work to kind of complete that diamond look for this. Once you finish that second row of single crochets, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and then turn and single crochet 2 to begin this next part of our lattice work. So because we are going to be making our front post triple crochet go from this point down to here, it's not going to start the same as the row that we did before. So because of that, we are going to go ahead and do our front post triple crochet. We've done these 2 single crochets to get us to the middle of the triangle. Then we are going to come down over here to this post of the top of this front post triple crochet. We are going to crochet around that, and then we are going to, because we're going to be doing a full one of these diamonds, then we're going to yarn over and go over here to the top of this other one, crochet, make sure you don't catch the flower, and then finish off our stitch like that. Then we will skip this next stitch right here and then single crochet 3. Then we are going to start doing that same thing again. We'll go down here to this one that we just worked around. Make sure you don't catch your yarn on that flower and make sure it stays on the other side of it. And then we are going to come around like this, then go over and finish off that stitch, and then this will be right in the middle of that little trellis stitch right there, just like that. And then we will skip this next stitch and then single crochet 3. And then this time we don't have to work around any of the flowers, we can just do our normal one. Just like so. Just keep going all the way across till we get to the end of this row. One thing that you can also do on this row, if you are worried about getting too tangled up in this flower, and you can do the same thing over here as well. If you don't want to have to work around the flower, another trick that you can do with this stitch is you can have the second half of your front post triple crochet just end at the top of the flower here. So you can go ahead and insert your hook through the top there on the back, and then you can go ahead and finish off your stitch. It will look slightly different just because you're not going down as much, but because we've got this flower here, it kind of covers it up, and then we can go ahead and finish off this like normal, and then you'll just have this next half of it will go around that post that you just made up there at the top, and then you'll finish this last part of the row by inserting your hook and going over here to the top of that other front post triple crochet we did before, and then we will single crochet across here just like this to the very end. And then you've got your first completed set of diamonds and flowers, just like that. So on this next row, you're basically going to just be repeating the same thing that we just did, except that I like to put my flower in the center, and then you just continue the lattice stitch like we did with all of these rows. So you'll see here on my swatch, what I did is I placed the flower in the middle of the diamonds, and then I put 2 flowers up here, and you just kind of repeat everything that we've just been doing all the way across this piece. So it's really up to you where you want to place the flowers, but those basics that I just taught you are essentially how you do this whole stitch pattern. Be sure to check out on my blog kind of the step-by-step instructions for different parts of it, especially with where these front post triple crochet front post triple crochets go, and kind of where you do different placements for the flowers if you want to. But this stitch is super customizable. You can put as many or as few flowers as you want. Just make sure that you've allowed 5 stitches to account for the leaves and the flowers themselves so that you can get the complete look of the flower on the trellis. And that is how you do this stitch. I hope that you loved making this, and I can't wait to see all the beautiful projects that you make with this stitch pattern. Be sure to tag me on social media at eclairmakery or use hashtag eclairmakery so I can see your beautiful projects, and be sure to hit the like button and subscribe below so that you never miss out on any of my free colorwork stitch tutorials that I have here on my channel and on my blog. And I can't wait to see what beautiful creations you make with the Flower Trellis Stitch. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like it below if you enjoyed watching it, and hit the subscribe button if you never want to miss out a video from me, and also check out my other videos and tutorials on my channel. See you next time!